Welcome to CEO Corner. My name is Sarah McGrath, partner in 360 Search recruitment services across Ireland and the UK, and I work with senior executives helping them build their teams and also help those who are in search of their next career move. I have a particular interest in understanding the psychology of success and also the story behind the person who's had the success. I'd like to welcome Louise Phelan to CEO Corner. Louise is CEO of Phelan Energy Group, a leading international energy developer with an exclusive focus on solar PV. Phelan Energy provide low-cost, clean power and operate across 15 international markets from development to operations. Prior to this, Louise was Vice President of International Payments for PayPal, with a budget responsibility of 80 million and managing 300 million active accounts. Louise is also a non-executive director for Ryanair. Louise has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to leadership, having won awards such as Businesswoman of the Year and Most Trusted Leader, a title to be extremely proud of. Louise's standout feature is her personality. It's passionate, positive, and someone you want to be around. And I'm thrilled to welcome Louise on International Women's Day to share her story. Louise, welcome to CEO Corner.
Thank you very much indeed, Sarah.
So today is International Women's Day, and I must ask you, firstly, do you have any words or advice for women out there that need to put themselves forward for a promotion or go for a job, or really just to instill some confidence in themselves?
Yeah, I just think every woman needs to believe they can do anything. And if they surround themselves with trusted advisors and people that believe in them and are advocates of them, and they will tell them the truth and hold up the mirror. But I believe in yourself. Yeah. Take a spoonful of confidence every day. I think it's so important. But believe in yourself because you can do it.
Yeah, great. I love it. And you have an extremely impressive resume, so I'd love to understand about what's gone into getting to where you are today.
Yeah, look, hard work is number one. I suppose here's what I would say, Sarah. I started out my career in a completely different industry. I wanted always to be a paediatric nurse. Wow. And I studied it to my finals, and I decided it wasn't for me. I was too emotionally involved with children. That's 30 years ago when parents didn't stay with children in hospital, and the nurses were their family for the period of time they were there. So I took a very big decision at the age of 22, and probably took the biggest risk that I've taken in my career to date, and decided to go back and do a commercial course. That's what you did then, and I did a commercial course with 16 people, and of the 16 we were all sent to go for the interview. And I am very thankful and grateful to say I got the job, and I started in Mars. JCM, it's a subsidiary of distributors of Mars Ireland, and I basically worked with the team in relation to just filing, office duties, and I worked my way up, and I stayed there for 4 years. I had a fabulous boss. He was a great mentor. He taught me all I know around business and how you look at things. He just was great. I didn't know he was a mentor at the time. I just thought, I'll help her, poor her. But he was just amazing, and I'm indebted to him. He was just a really good boss and very supportive of me. And then one day he said, look, I think this place is too big for me and you. Wow. You need to go and, sow your wild oats and find some other company. I was devastated. I thought I was doing a great job. But he saw something in me and said, look, I think pastures are greener, there's a bigger opportunities. And I went and I interviewed, and I joined Woodchester in 1990, and we bought over Mercantile Credit at the end of that year, and I went in and I integrated Mercantile Credit into the business. And then we were bought over by General Electric, and I am green belt, black belt, yellow belt, Six Sigma through and through. But I would tell you, it was a great family in GE and in Woodchester. We were all had each other's back, but also we invested in learning and coaching and mentoring and feedback. It was just really, really great environment to learn and develop. And then in 2006, PayPal headhunted me.
Oh, great.
And after 16 interviews, and
16?
Honestly, that's the first thing I fixed when I went in there.
Brilliant, good.
But a great company. So I've always worked with companies that make a difference and change the world. GE invented the light bulb. PayPal democratized money by sending it across in an email. I mean, amazing. Worked for an amazing company and did loads of different roles across all my career. I changed every 2 years. I stuck on my comfort zone within companies. And in 2019, I decided I was traveling 280 days a year, just too much. And I made a decision to take a career break and take time out. And I took 6 months off, and I travelled every 5-star hotel in Ireland and in the continent, and it was amazing.
I'd say
and
so.
then one morning I had to wake up and say, that has to get paid for. Here's the real world.
Yeah.
And I knew I wasn't going to go back into corporate world. And I had lots of opportunities. And then my brother has a business called Phelan Energy Group, which is solar PV. And he said, look, Louise, he's 69, and he'll kill me now for saying that. But and he said, look, I need somebody to come in, and it's a family trust and run the business. And I just felt as another opportunity to make a difference in people's lives by giving electricity in countries that don't have it today.
Yeah, you couldn't let that opportunity go.
Yeah, so look, I've had great teams, great people, and it's all about people. I had fabulous teams that I worked with. We hired great people. I surrounded myself with great people, and I hired people where I needed help, the strengths that I don't have. And I just was very lucky hiring a very diverse team across a global role, right across the States, right across Europe. But I have to say, everything boils down to making sure you have the right people and giving them the skills and competencies and the will to be excited about their job.
Great. And you've won Most Trusted Leader Award. What does that award mean, and what has gone into actually to earning that?
Yeah, I think it's probably still one of my proudest moments. I mean, the team in PayPal vote you, and they voted me as the most trusted leader. And I was just blown away. And I just still think of that, of how they felt that I changed their lives by giving them opportunities both in Dublin and Dundalk and across the globe, because I had teams in America, teams in Europe and teams in everywhere. And I just think for your teams of all those thousands of people to say, we trust you as our trusted leader, it's a fabulous, fabulous accolade to get, and I just feel very proud about it, for them and for me.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, that it reminds me then of you've won, you're like a mentor to those guys, how you felt, you know, with the gentleman that was a mentor for you early in your career. So, what is involved in running a global energy company? What do you do on a day-to-day basis, or how involved do you get?
Yeah, so it's a totally new sector for me. So I had to go down deep to understand and learn. And I would want to know that, because I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about, but also I want to make sure my teams, I can support them in development. So here's, I suppose, Phelan Energy Group is delivering solar PV to countries that don't have power 24/7 today. So we are making a difference in people's lives. We're working in frontier countries that don't have it. Afghanistan, South Africa, India. We are making a difference in those people's lives where they have load shedding, where they don't have electricity 24/7. Can you just imagine that, Sarah? They decide at 2 o'clock today they are reducing power, you don't have any power. It's just not comprehensible. And I feel, working in PEG and understanding their values, we want to provide low-cost, clean solar PV to the world, but mostly to the people that don't have it today. So the day for me is leadership. It's about leading a team, understanding the business, having commercial savvy in doing deals, and working with government agencies, working with the off-takers, making sure that we are involved with them, but also giving them solutions to their problem, whether that's battery storage, whether that's, you know, floating solar. We're building our first floating solar on a dam in Nagaloo. It started at the end of December. It's amazing. But the reality is, land is getting expensive everywhere. Land is very expensive in Europe. So we're looking at the floating solar opportunity, and we have now launched our new company called FloatSun, where we're going to start doing a lot more floating solar as opposed to land.
Wow, I think, you know, we're probably a little sheltered in Ireland because we have food, water, energy at our disposal. Like, I can feel your passion, you know, for it, and congratulations, that's a super achievement. What goes into building a culture and an environment where people can really thrive and be the best that they can be?
Yeah, look, I've said in many, many interviews, the most important thing to remember is a fish rots from the head. And if the head of the organisation is not right, it's going to permeate down to the organisation. Start at your leadership team, build your values, your culture, your vision and your mission. And it has to be clear, and they have to walk the walk and talk the talk. So our values are entrepreneurship. We don't want to lose that. That is so important. Think outside the box. Fail, fall, we'll pick you up and move on. We're all learning. It's accountability. It's commercial savvy. Have a nose for the deal and follow the deal. It's so, so important. I'm, constantly looking at it. Manage your costs. That does not mean be cheap.
Yeah.
We use the top tier 1 for all of our products that are Bloomberg recognised for our solar business. But we're constantly looking at getting better prices. And it's so important. Cost conscious is really important. Leading a team, giving them the tools, giving them the skills and competencies to be the best at what they are. But also they have got to have accountability, commercial savvy, entrepreneurial flair, but again, a go-get attitude, having that passion of, I love making a difference in people's lives.
Yeah. And you have advised and operated with some of the largest companies in the world, and how do you hold your own when you step into that environment and you work with players and you advise on non-exec boards when these guys are skilled and kind of very set? How do you hold your own in that type of environment?
Yeah, and I suppose I learned it a long time ago. Always remember where you came from. Always remember who you are. Always remember who you are. Always remember where you came from, because people see through that and they'll spot it in a second and they'll go, she's not authentic. And I am, every bone in my body is authentic. And I stand on my own. And I make sure that I'm prepared for every meeting and opportunity. Can I make a decision on 80-20? Of course I can. But I respect people that ask me to go to a meeting to be prepared and give the best of me when I'm in that meeting. That's what it's about. It's being prepared, and it's also asking the stupid question. It's like, who wants to be a millionaire? If you don't know the answer, you don't know it. But you have got to ask it, you got to phone a friend.
Yeah.
So it's surrounding yourself with teams of people that you don't need to know all the answers. But what you do need to know is where you can find the answer. And I think it's really important. Stay true to yourself. You have to be able to be true to yourself. And again, it's really important. You got to have empathy. You got to understand. You can sway, you can bend, but you can't break. You got to make sure that you are you.
Yeah, and sharing your knowledge and kind of believing in kind of what you're saying and the experience that you have. Is there a time, Louise, when you have experienced a failure or something that stuck with you throughout your career and you've had to really, dig deep and move on and have learned from it?
Look, Sarah, I've had that many awesome failures than I've had successes. So it's how you deal with them. I just tell you, I've loads of them. I've cost the company a significant amount of money, but I've gone back and said, this is how we're going to fix it. The most important thing is when I find I've an awesome failure or my team, I pick up the phone and ring my boss.
Yeah.
Come here till I tell you, this has happened. This is what we've done. It's not good, but here's how we're rectifying and fixing it, and learn from that awesome failure. I've had loads of them in my career, having those come here till I tell you conversations. But the most important thing is put it out there so we can all help to fix it. And you know what? That's when you don't learn from the cheerleading ones, you learn from the awesome failures. And the Americans, I still have it, they call them, my boss would ring me and say, Louise, what was your awesome failure this week? I go, have you got all day? Because I've had loads of them. But the reality is putting it out there, talking about it, fixing it together, not sweeping it under the carpet. That doesn't help anybody. But I think you'd learn from your awesome failures, dust yourself off, pick yourself up. And, to me, I always think that's when the washing machine is going. Oh, yeah, that was a big, awesome failure. How am I going to fix it? And it's that problem solving. And asking for help is a way to fix them. But I've had plenty of awesome failures.
Yeah, and they educate you. You become better at what you do. And
more resilient. You become more
definitely.
resilient. You can bend, but you can't break. So it's that resilience jumps in and go, how can I make this better?
Yeah, great. And the vision for Phelan Energy is a huge one, is to become the lowest cost supplier of clean solar power in the world. That's phenomenal. What does that mean for the communities that you serve in South Africa and India and Afghanistan?
Yeah, if you look at Afghanistan today, only 39% of Afghanistan is connected to a grid. 39%. So we believe that we have to make a difference and change that for the future of our children. We've got to leave our children with a better future than what they have today in these countries. You have load shedding in South Africa on a regular basis. That's their norm. To me, that's not our norm. So we have to make a difference. Afghanistan, as I said, they need us. So we're working in frontier countries to bring electricity to everybody. And I feel it's our duty of care as a citizen to take responsibility and help countries that actually can't help themselves today. And we're helping with the off-takers, we're working with all of the government agencies, we're putting papers together on how we can help them, we're sitting down in front of them. And you know what, COVID hasn't really impacted that because it's the new norm. Get on a video call, be who you can want to be, and I think it's really, really good, and we've great relationships in these countries, and business is about relationships, so it's making a difference in those lives. And we have a pipeline of, we're going to implement about 400 or 500 megawatts per year. We have a massive pipeline because we have delivered, and if you deliver and you have a track record, you can do that.
Yeah, it's transformational for these communities and such purposeful work as well.
Yeah.
It really is. The EU has, very much become aware of global warming and its impact on the planet, and the use of non-sustainable methods of generating power, such as fossil fuels. I understand Germany is kind of at the forefront of implementing a renewable energy economy. Where are we? Where is Ireland in our, I guess, process in becoming more sustainable as a country?
Yeah, and I suppose I kept this in front of me to give you a stat. Look, we're lagging behind, we've a lot to do. SEAI, which is the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland, have said that we were at 11% in 2018. We're versus where we should be at 16%. But we've a lot to do. We are trying to do a lot of things. But I suppose the hope is that we have 70% of electricity come from renewables by 2030. Okay. We've said that the government put out 2019 climate change plan. We're trying to work towards that plan. We have an awful lot to do. But again, I think it's in all of our control. It's not just government's responsibility. It's every individual citizen's responsibility to think about the little things that they can do every day, whether, the big impact is rubbish, the big impact is reducing waste and electricity. Think about it, because if you're wasting it, we wouldn't have to produce it if you didn't waste it. So a lot of little things that we need to do, your BE rating in your home, your bins, your waste, thinking about all of them, your electric cars, your walking to work, all of them things are little things you can think about it. But most importantly, we've got to start talking about it. Yeah. And we really have got to start coming up with a critical path on how we're going to get there and who is accountable to delivering that. I have a part to play, our company has a part to play, you have a part to play. But if we all don't do our own little bit, we're going to be pushing the same snowball up the hill that's continually rolling back on us.
Yeah, and I think, the media is so dominated at the minute by COVID, as we've discussed, and I think sometimes there needs to be a louder voice or more practical knowledge about how we can individually contribute to making it more sustainable. Do you have even 3, let's say, take-home messages from today to contribute?
Yeah, just look at your home. Look at what you're using at home. Look at what you're using in your recycling. Are you recycling everything? Are you using electric opportunities where you can, whether you're buying a car, whether you should be looking at a hybrid model of that car? Are you looking at your BE rating in your home? Is it going out the window? You're heating the road. You're heating the outside of your house as opposed to the inside of your house. And I think the most important thing is keep talking about it. But the reality is there's a massive opportunity for Ireland to punch its weight above every other nation on green energy and on green and on sustainability. And I think we've got to take this very seriously and let public and private and government all come together to make that happen. Yeah. But I just feel we all can help when we want to, but we all have got to have a really clear vision of where we're going. And the government has produced that paper to say this is what we need to do. We're behind, we continue keeping being behind, but I really do think public, private and government need to run and work together to make a difference so that we are making a difference for our children and for the next generations.
Yeah, I'd like to see it spelled out for us so we know, I think if you tell us what to do, it'll be a case of getting it done. You are a non-executive director and advisory to Ryanair. How has it been advising to a company like Ryanair that's going through a difficult time, and what have you learned from and your take-home points from this type of advisory capacity?
Yeah, I suppose at this time it's good to have a boring balance sheet, right? You have to mind the money. But here's what I would tell you. Everybody in Ryanair and all of the non-execs have got together and we're helping them as best as we can. Yeah. They're a fantastic team. Amazing leader in Michael O'Leary, and they have an amazing management team. We're just helping to steer the ship. They're actually doing all the work. But here's what I would say, it's okay to have a boring balance sheet right now. It's now we're looking at the opportunities, looking at the negotiations that we're having with all the airports, look at how we can look at costs and manage costs. And everybody should be thinking like that. Mind the money. I'm not saying being cheap. I'm saying mind the money, mind the balance sheet, look at your overheads, look at your costs, renegotiate all your contracts, look at the opportunities you can have in airports when you come out of it. So it's constantly not talking about today, it's about looking forward, what's the plan, what's the theory, what do we think, and having that debate, a constructive discussion between your teams. Your people know what we should be thinking about and we should be doing. But again, I think it's a great time where people need to stand back, draw a breath, and re-look at the brilliant opportunities that there is through COVID. I know there's lots of people like the hospitality that's hugely impacted. But again, look at opportunities and ways how you can make that better when you come out of the traps. Look, there's lots we can do. There's lots of opportunities for people. There is challenges and I'm not ignoring them. But I think the reality situation is work with your people, true leadership, and true leaders will bubble to the top in times of crisis.
Yeah, and retaining the ambition that you had before this, and kind of manoeuvring how you trade or how you work. What's the vision for Phelan Energy in 2021?
Yeah, so we have a really busy roadmap in 2021. We've started an 86.25 megawatt ground-mounted plant in South Africa. We have started a 24 megawatt floating solar plant in the dam in Nagaloo. We have a 40 megawatt ground mounted that we starting in July in Afghanistan. We want to put megawatts into the ground and connect them to the grid, whether it's through land or whether it's through water, so that we're making a difference in the countries and in frontier countries. They need our help. We have fabulous relationships with them. Building my team. We're hiring 39 people this year.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's a great place to be hiring people, go through a pandemic, having coming out of that. We want to lead a team that'll get us to put megawatts in the ground, coach, mentor and develop our team. We got to make sure we're developing the people we have. We got to hire new talent and bring them to the table. But also we've got to make sure we're minding the plants that we have today and that we are continuing looking at innovation, whether that's battery opportunities in conjunction with solar for countries that need to pump it out at different hours. But bottom line is profitable megawatts in the ground.
I wish you the best of luck with that, and you know it just means so much to countries that don't have access to this. I really do. I wish you guys all the best with it. So just to wrap up our interview, I have 3 fun questions. What is the last book that you read?
Well, when you get time, Samantha Power, The Education of the Idealist. And that was a really great book, really, really interesting book. And again, through COVID, you're going from books to TV to, podcasts to TED Talks. You're through anything to try to keep yourself busy. You're picking up and dropping things. But that was her, Samantha
Power. So you recommend it?
I would, absolutely.
Great. And who do you admire most in the world and why? Well,
look, I really admire Mary McAleese. I really think she's done a great job. I think she's punched above her weight for Ireland. I think herself and Mary Robinson, they've set a fabulous trail. They've set a bar. They have said it that we can do it. And I just look at home first before I start thinking outside of that. And I think Mary Robinson and Mary McAleese have just really set us proud and done some great jobs for women.
They would love to hear that.
Yes.
And if you were stuck on a desert island, what 3 items would you bring?
Oh, I know it sounds terrible, but I'd have to bring my iPhone, I'd have to bring my gym gear, and definitely water. That's it. That's it. Now, lots of people will say, Louise, that's really wine, but we'll give it a liquid.
Red or white. Red or white.
Absolutely red.
Good choice. Louise, thank you. That was a really enjoyable interview, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Sarah, thank you.